There is a moment in a man's life that changes everything. Not a promotion, not a relationship, not money or success or recognition. A moment. Quiet. Internal. The moment he realizes that what other people think of him means absolutely nothing. And from that moment forward, everything is different. He walks differently. He speaks differently. He makes decisions differently. Not because he became arrogant, not because he stopped caring about people, but because he finally stopped handing strangers the power to define him. This is what happens to a man when he finally stops caring what people think. Sign 1. He stops performing and starts living. Most men are performing every day, every room they walk into, every conversation they have. They are managing impressions, saying the right things, laughing at the right moments, agreeing when they disagree, shrinking when they should stand, and it is exhausting. The man who stops caring what people think steps off that stage completely. He says what he actually means. He wears what he actually wants. He makes decisions based on what he actually values, not what will look best to the people watching. And something unexpected happens. People respect him more, not less, more. Because there is nothing more magnetic than a man who is completely, unapologetically himself. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "It never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinion than our own." Read that again. Let it land. Sign 2. He becomes impossible to manipulate. Here is how manipulation works. Someone needs something from you. They cannot ask directly, so they apply pressure through judgment, through disapproval, through guilt, through the threat of thinking less of you. And if you care what they think, it works every time. But the man who has freed himself from the need for approval, the pressure has nowhere to land. You cannot guilt a man who answers only to himself. You cannot shame a man who has already faced himself in the mirror and made peace with what he found. He listens. He considers. He may even adjust if the criticism has genuine merit, but he will never change course simply because someone disapproves. That is not stubbornness. That is sovereignty. Epictetus said, "If anyone tells you that a certain person speaks ill of you, do not make excuses about what is said of you, but answer, 'He was ignorant of my other faults, else he would not have mentioned only these.'" A man with that mindset cannot be touched. Sign 3. His decisions get faster and cleaner. You do not realize how much of your mental energy is spent on other people's opinions until you stop spending it. Every decision filtered through "what will she think? What will he say? What will they assume?" takes 5 times longer than a decision made from your own values. The man who stops caring cuts through all of that noise. He decides quickly. He acts decisively. He adjusts when necessary and moves on without drama. His life starts to accelerate, not because he suddenly became smarter, but because he removed the biggest obstacle to clear thinking, the constant, exhausting, invisible audience he had been performing for his entire life. Sign 4. Rejection loses its power over him. Rejection used to mean something was wrong with him. That is what most men believe unconsciously. That being rejected by a woman, by a friend, by an opportunity is evidence of their worth. The man who stops caring what people think understands something different. Rejection is just information. She is not interested. That is information. He did not get the role. That is information. They did not invite him. That is information. None of it is a verdict on who he is. It is simply data about fit, timing, circumstance. And when rejection loses its sting, a man becomes fearless. He asks for what he wants. He pursues what he values. He accepts no with the same calm he accepts yes, because his worth was never in their answer. Seneca wrote, "Reject everything that is not your own. Do not torture yourself with other people's dreams." Sign 5. He finds out who actually belong in his life. This is the one most men are not prepared for. When you stop performing, when you drop the version of yourself you created to be liked, some people leave. And it is painful at first. But here is what it reveals. Those people were never connected to you. They were connected to your performance, to the version of you that agreed with them, validated them, needed them. The real you, the one that has stopped apologizing for existing, that man attracts different people entirely. People who actually see him. People who respect his boundaries because they have their own. People who add to his life rather than drain it. The man who stops caring what people think does not end up alone. He ends up surrounded by people who are actually worth his time. Sign 6. He finally meets himself. This is the deepest one. Most men have never actually met themselves. They have met the version their parents expected, the version their friends approved of, the version their relationship required, the version social media rewarded. But the man underneath all of that, his actual values, his real desires, his genuine purpose, he has been waiting. The moment you stop caring what people think is the moment you finally get to ask yourself the most important question a man can ask. Who am I when nobody is watching? And then, for the first time, build a life around the honest answer. That is not the end of something, that is the beginning of everything. Stop performing, start becoming. The only opinion that will matter on your last day is your own. The mirror doesn't lie, it only shows what's already there. He ends up surrounded by people who are actually worth his time. Sign 6. He finally meets himself. This is the deepest one. Most men have never actually met themselves. They have met the version their parents expected, the version their friends approved of, the version their relationship required, the version social media rewarded. But the man underneath all of that, his actual values, his real desires, his genuine purpose, he has been waiting. The moment you stop caring what people think is the moment you finally get to ask yourself the most important question a man can ask. Who am I when nobody is watching? And then, for the first time, build a life around the honest answer. That is not the end of something, that is the beginning of everything. Stop performing, start becoming. The only opinion that will matter on your last day is your own. The mirror doesn't lie, it only shows what's already there.